If you missed out on the NES Classic, fear not. The SNES Classic is coming out soon and there'll be more of them available. So, this is more relevant to me because this is the first game system I ever got my hands on.
Nice.
I've never touched an NES, well, not as a kid, before. And so this is going to be coming out from Nintendo. They did note that they will be shipping out more of the SNES Classic than they did the NES Classic.
Right.
So if it was hard for you, which, spoiler, it was if you tried, it should be slightly easier. However, they haven't said how many they are releasing yet. It will be coming out September 29th through the holiday season. The perfect time.
Dude, I will say that this is the right generation of console to bring back in a way that doesn't solely rely on nostalgia. Because I was a Sega Master System person. There
Not
were
me.
Nintendo, there were regulars, there was regular Nintendo Entertainment System and Sega. And then they had Sega Genesis and I got Sega Genesis, so I stayed on that side. And playing the games, they have emulators online for like original 8-bit and then 16-bit. The 8-bit games are terrible. The only reason you like them is if you played them when you were a kid and you're tapping into that. The 16-bit ones, in my opinion anyway, actually are good games. And they were able to be graphically more interesting. And then there were certain elements of like charting your progress in a meaningful way that wasn't available in the 3 lives and you're out.
So are you waiting for the Sega revival?
I want the Sega revival. I just don't think there's enough infrastructure for Sega anymore.
How do you feel about having lost the console war?
I feel like, yeah, terrible. But it was the same feeling. When I was a kid, we'd lost the console war because I had a Sega Master System and I don't know why we got that.
I mean, the Game Gear was pretty cool.
Game Gear,
It took 100 batteries.
Sonic was great, but then when Dreamcast came along and Saturn, it was like, all right, there's a grave already dug. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I remember the Saturn. Sorry
it was
about the Saturn.
PlayStation came in and was like, we will use technology now.
Yeah, you should definitely check out the book Console Wars about this era.
Sounds great.
It's so interesting, so well done. And you can get it as an audiobook. This is not an advertisement. I genuinely like it. So the Super NES Classic will be coming with a lot of games, including Contra 3, The Alien Wars, Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country, Final Fantasy 3, Kirby Superstar, Kirby Dream Course, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Mega Man X.
Awesome.
Starfox, Starfox 2, which by the way was never made at the time, so this is new. You could check videos of emulators online, but it's cool that it's coming in this. And you can't play Star Fox 2 without showing your skills by beating the first level of Star Fox 1, which shouldn't be that hard to be honest, but
yeah,
it's there. There's also Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting, Super Castlevania 4, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Yoshi's Island, and one of my favorites, Super Punch-Out.
Mario Kart alone is gonna work for me.
I've actually never played Mario Kart on the SNES.
I guess I only played it on 64.
I played it on Nintendo 64 and it was the best game.
Oh, you needed the
thing in the
controller. Here's the
middle.
problem with Street Fighter. I kind of want them to have a better controllers for Street Fighter because the Street Fighter thing
hard.
It's gonna be difficult because you don't have that like fluidity of motion.
You gotta build that callus up, remember?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
It seems like Nintendo is more confident in this than they were in the previous one because they're gonna make a lot more of them. It seems like they're putting a lot more into the actual manufacturing of it.
What's funny was when I read Console Wars, it was describing Nintendo's specific strategy of understocking so that there's always high demand.
Really?
And then kind of pushing the retailers around because they could, they had the power.
Man.
And then Sega jumped in and kind of ruined it for them.
And just was like, here, take it.
Yep.
Oh, and then TurboGrafx 16 was like Bonk's Adventure. Did you ever play that?
Nope.
TurboGrafx 16
a little before, I wasn't allowed to play video games for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It was like when
look what happened.
When 16-bit came out, there was a lot of like looking around to see who actually would win this because Sega went from, the old school, you never heard of it, to like, oh, this arcade company is really doing something.
Sonic is really cool.
Yeah, and it was beautiful and great. And I remember like Echo the Dolphin, like
oh yeah, there's a great chapter on that in the book.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was great. And then there was TurboGrafx 16, which had like 9 months of glory when everyone was like kind of really wanted it. They had this one game called Bonk's Adventure. It was awesome, but then it disappeared. Absolutely disappeared.
So Bonk doesn't have the staying power of Mario, Sonic, or even a Crash Bandicoot, apparently.
Yeah, Crash.
Yeah, he's
God,
back.
I want to play these
Crash
video games
is back.
now.
Video games are really going back into the vintage style right now, if not via this system, via remaster.
That's what's so good about Nintendo. That's like Nintendo's core competency is to create like great characters that are in multiple games and focus on the gameplay element, and then also expand the community element. And now you don't need that kind of next level technology. You can just make a really fun game that people can enjoy.
Well, it's not out yet. If you can get your hands on it, it will come with an HDMI cable, a charging cable, 2 SNES controllers, and the controllers will have a 5-foot cord. They will not be wireless. Audience, are you gonna go get one? Please let us know below, and please like and subscribe for more.